Okay, today's destination is Black Rock Sister and possibly the North Sister in Lee Canyon in the Mount Charleston Wilderness Spring Mountains. And where we are right now, here is Lee Canyon Road. And we're parking at a wide spot here, just below an address 5690. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go to a gully on the other side of the road here, the west side of Lee Canyon Road. We're going to start ascending a gully and then look around and see if we can find that Black Rock Sister. You're looking at the South Sister. So we know that there is a saddle. It's not very long between the South and the North Sister. And through the trees here, you can see the North Sister. And the Black Rock Sister is just a little bit to the right or northeast of the North Sister. So we're going to go to the Black Rock Sister and then angle over to the North Sister and just see what it looks like there. We haven't done this before. So we want to look around, see what we're looking at. So here we go, up to that gully right before you hit 5690, and then we're going to look around and hopefully the Black Rock Sister and the North Sister will appear and we'll see a route. Okay, there is 5690 up ahead. That looks like kind of a temporary sign, so don't expect it to be there when you're here. And then panning around here, here is the gully. And so we're going to start ascending this gully and then just see if we want to be on the right or the left side of the gully, the north or the south side of the gully. And as we head up to the Black Rock Sister, but we don't know where it is from here right now, so we'll see more in a bit. Just to show you how close we are to where we parked. There's the parking spot. And there you can see the beast. So that's a really good place to park if you're heading up this gully and looking for Black Rock Sister. Okay, decided to head up the right or north side of the gully. There's the gully. I just want to give this property over here, 5690, a wide berth so that we're not trespassing. And we'll see if this is the correct choice. If it's not, then I've got to descend back into the gully to reach the Black Rock Sister. But things are looking decent because here you see the North Sister and the South Sister. So we're definitely so far heading in a good direction. Let's just see if we're on the correct side of this gully. I don't want to get ahead of myself, but when you pick a logical route, sometimes you'll see the faintest trail, and it looks like there is a faint trail here. I wonder what it looks like going down in this direction. Yeah, sort of faint trail that we're on, if you could call it that. Very seldom used trail, and it could go in a lot of different directions here. So I'm going to head up to the summit of this ridge so I can look around a little better, get a better view. Here we go. Looks like I may have jumped the gun here, and there is the North Sister And there's the ridge line leading down to the Black Rock Sister, which you can't see from here. But what you can see really clearly is that there's another gully down here. So actually, I took one gully too soon, and I need to be on the ridge across this gully. Fortunately, it's not too much of a descent and a reascent, but I just let you know that yes, if you're going to the Black Rock Sister and the North Sister, you need to start heading up one gully before I headed up, and maybe on the way back we'll take a look at what gully that might be. And yes, this is why I ascended to the top of the ridge here. Good views of the area. Here's Mummy's Head right there, and then there's the northern ridge line of Kyle Canyon. But for now, let's descend this into this gully, and we'll ascend the ridge line over here to which promises to hit the Black Rock Sister, which this may actually be the Black Rock Sister. We don't know. We'll know when we get closer. And then you continue along the ridge to the North Sister, which is up in that direction. Okay, so down we go, down into this next gully, and then up the opposite ridge line. We're down in that other gully, and very, very faint old trail that we're on. I don't trust any of these trails anymore. The other trail was telling me I was on the right trail when I think I was on the entire wrong ridge line. But let's continue up and just see where all this leads. We want to head to a summit of this ridge line where we can look around a little better. Maybe see the Black Rock Sister and the North Sister. And by the way, it looks like maybe I'm not the only person to make that mistake and head up the wrong ridge. It looks like there's evidence of people that have made this traverse from the ridge to the south, where we were a moment ago, and this area, which is promising to head up to a ridge line that will more naturally lead where we want to go. Okay, interesting, I may still be one gully too soon. There is a shallow gully, and maybe the ridge I'm on will lead to an easier passage of this gully. We don't know, but what I'm thinking is that I may need to be heading up this next ridge, which would be the third ridge over. I'm wondering though if I just keep heading up the ridge that I'm on, which would be that gully just north of the gully that I originally ascended, because I can see the North Sister right up through the trees, and it looks like this ridge that I'm on is going to connect with the next ridge over and the Black Rock Sister. We will see. It's very sketchy at this point. We'll know after we've gone a little further. And just a quick 360. Can't see a whole lot here, but there is this gully. This would be the two gullies north of the one I originally began to ascend. And there's Mummy's Head through the trees. And you can see that the navigation here is pretty straightforward, easy through the trees, no underbrush to speak of. So yeah, I'm going to head up this gully a little further, this ridge a little further, and see if it connects to the next ridge over, and we get a better look at the North Sister and the Black Rock Sister. Okay, continuing to head up this ridge, and yeah, I don't think I'm going to need to cross over to the other ridge to the south. So we just had started up one ridge too soon. You can see the ridge over across this gully below us. That's the ridge we had started up. And boy, it's good we didn't continue on that ridge. And then there's a good shot of Lee Peak. And you see part of the Lee Canyon ski area. It looks like there's a fire break up here that goes all the way to the summit of Lee Canyon. But for today, yes, what we're looking at is the South Sister, the Saddle, and then the North Sister, and Black Rock should be somewhere above us up this ridge. We'll see in a bit. So let's get a closer look, because this is a really good view of. Now, when you're summiting the North Sister, you probably want to summit on the west side. The east side is pretty much cliffs, and then you're around the back side or west side of the North Sister, and then you're hitting this saddle between the two sisters, and you see it's a bit rocky there. And then up the saddle to a summit up there. Let's see. Yeah, there is the eastern summit, and we've been on the eastern summit. And then over here is the western summit. We've been just below that western summit, but you want to be at the top of that western summit and then head down this this saddle, and then up around the back side of the west side of the North Sister, come around to the Black Rock Sister up above us. We'll get a closer look, of course, and then head down this ridge that I'm on all the way down to Lee Canyon Road below. And there's some reference points that we've been looking at. So anyway, yeah, that's a very rough idea of the route that we're taking from this perspective. Okay, onward. In the meantime, here's another shot of South Sister, Saddle, North Sister. We can't see Black Rock Sister yet, so hopefully we're on a good ridge that's going to take us up in that direction. We'll find out. Okay, let's continue on up toward Black Rock Sister and North Sister. Okay, yes, it looks like this ridge is going to do it. There's the North Sister. There's the South Sister, saddle between. And I actually want to be on this other ridge, one ridge further north than the ridge I'm on. But boy, it looks like the lower end of that ridge is a pretty rocky, steep slope. And so this ridge, on the other hand, leads across and up in a more gradual way. So I think I am on the best ridge. We don't know for certain. We'll find out as we get further up. Black Rock Sister should be up in this area. And then here's the North Sister, Saddle, South Sister. And then just looking around. Lee Peak, Mummy. So there you have an idea from this perspective where we are. Yes, this ridge does cross over to the next ridge, so this is actually a good ridge choice if you're ascending or descending the Black Rock Sister to Lee Canyon Road. North Sister, Saddle, South Sister, 360-degree view. Yeah, I'm glad I'm on this ridge rather than one ridge further north. So this is indeed the ridge to be on. Okay, let's continue on up, see what things look like. One thing I try to do when I'm in a wilderness area like this is not to disturb the ground, not to touch anything that's green either above or below me, and just weave amongst the wild plants here. And so far that's been possible on this ridge. I haven't touched anything green, and I've ascended about 500 feet and still looks like there are a lot of openings. I have brushed against some dead branches, and that's about it. Not even that so much. So you can see there are ways to move through an area like this without slashing or breaking anything that's living. So far so good. Just been weaving around between the plants and staying on this ridge. No real steep avalanche slopes yet, but just to give you an idea, if you're on the way back wondering what ridge to take, you would actually take this ridge up ahead. So you just head down from where I am now to this pretty exposed ridge, and then head down that ridge, eventually angle over to the right or the south, and head down into the gully. You'd probably angle down right around this lower area there, and then head down that gully to Lee Canyon Road. You don't want to be on the ridge on this side. You see the ridge to the south. Yeah, it does not lead to where you want to go if you're going to the Black Rock Sister and the North Sister. That eventually heads up the South Sister. So don't go that ridge, and don't go up this ridge, which is just really steep. And then eventually you're gonna need to head down an avalanche slope when you realize that it's just too steep and there's some rocky cliffy areas down below. This is the ridge to be on right here, and then head down that exposed area. It's between the two ridges that we looked at, and then when you get further down and it gets lower toward Lee Canyon, you're going to angle over to the gully to the south or right side of this ridge, way down below, way down in this area. That's where you're going to angle down to your right or south, and then hit a gully and just take that gully down to Lee Canyon Road. So that gives you an idea. And you can see there's a little housing, residential area, cabins on the far side, east side of Lee Canyon Road. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we are. Okay, let's continue up. We want to angle over, I think, to this next ridge in a bit. We'll see. I still don't see the Black Rock Sister. Maybe I'm just below it. We'll see. Okay. Onward, let's continue on up here and see if we can continue to weave amongst the vegetation and end up at the Black Rock Sister. Okay, we're about at 8,700 feet and haven't seen the first bristlecone pine yet, so definitely under 9,000. But look what we have here. There's a really nice bunch of wildflowers, Indian paintbrush, and I guess some kind of daisy. Still haven't stepped on anything green and nothing living so far. And it looks like this ridge is going to continue to lead upwards. So this is the way to go. And just to give you an idea, I'm not in very good ground here, but just give you a quick 360. And coming into view, you see that sharp peak in the distance. That's Gas Peak, the north side of Las Vegas. If you're going up Decatur, you look straight up and you're going to see Gas Peak. And then here is the Mummy Mountain and the north ridge of Kyle Canyon. Okay, and yeah, there's not much on this part of the circuit other than just the beautiful vegetation around us. So continuing upward, better view of the South Sister, and you can see the eastern summit on your left, the western summit on your right, and then there's the saddle. Here's the North Sister, and the way to the summit is obvious on the other side of the North Sister. And then up here is the ridge I'm continuing to ascend, and in a bit we should be able to see the Black Rock Sister. So let's continue up this really nice ridge. And just looking around, as you can see, there's a lot of greenery on the ridge, but nothing that you have to hack your way through. You can weave through it and have very secure footing, and the angle of incline isn't all that horrible. All the wide open area on this ridge. And by the way, here we are at our very first bristlecone pine, which is the marker for closing in on 9,000 feet. And we'll be seeing more of the bristlecone pines until they eventually are the only pines around. And then we know we're closing in on 10,000 feet. It's a view of the North Sister. And you can see a little saddle to get to the west side, the far side of the North Sister. And continuing up this really nice ridge. It's getting nicer and nicer as we go, much more open, but it's been very clear. There's always been a clear path all the way up. There's the Black Rock Sister. And yeah, definitely one ridge over. But if I were to, well, I'm headed for the Black Rock Sister. And if I were descending from the North Sister, it looks like I'd need to go uphill just slightly to catch this ridge on the way down. There you can see where this ridge meets up with the Black Rock Sister, and North Sister right over here. So we'll get a better look at everything in a little bit, but also what we're going to be looking at is, look at this formation. Wow, this is pretty cool. Looks like a natural arch. And when we get closer to that, we'll get a better look at it. But anyway, yeah, we're almost at the Black Rock Sister, and right here, no, we don't have the bristlecones. Here's a good bristlecone right here, and we are seeing more bristlecones up in this area as we are right around 9,000 feet. So let's take a look over here. So there is the summit of this ridge, and if you're heading to the North Sister, you just head across that saddle to the far side of the North Sister and summit the North Sister. I don't know if I'm going to do that today, but hey, we'll see. And there's the South Sister. Okay, so let's continue up this ridge. Let's take a look at that cool arch up ahead. Get a really close look at it. Onward. Wow, look at this arch. Pretty amazing, the formations, rock formations that you see when you get out and up in the mountains here. And then here is the Black Rock Sister. And so if you're heading to the Black Rock Sister, or you're descending from the Black Rock Sister, this arch marks the ridge you want to be on to descend, which has been a very, very nice, fairly gradual. It's a good incline, but nothing really horrible on this ridge the whole way up, and a lot of open space to traverse here. So you're not bushwhacking, you're bush weaving. Okay, so yeah, looking down around, you know, what beautiful framed shots through the forest here. Gas Peak and the northern area of Las Vegas just to the right or south of Gas Peak. And then of course, yes, in this nice little forest, just thick enough to provide some nice shade on a warm day. And by the way, it'll be above 100 degrees in the Las Vegas Valley today. And as I said, we're closing in on 9,000 feet. I would say we're probably at, we got to be around 80 degrees, 75 to 80. So it is a bit warm, but not like in Las Vegas. Okay, let's continue on up. Get some better shots of this arch and the Black Rock Sister. Perspective of the arch and the Black Rock Sister. There's Black Rock Sister. And here's that arch. And this is actually a destination in itself. It's about 1,000 feet elevation gain from Lee Canyon Road, and up this nice ridge that I've been on. There's, you know, it's pretty easy navigation. You just stay in the center of the ridge and don't head down to your right or left, and you're in good shape. So All that's missing is a real trail, but how beautiful this area is. You know, maybe I'm overdoing this arch here, but I just have to descend to get a good shot below the arch, and then yeah, you can see the Black Rock Sister right through the arch. I think I'm gonna ascend just a little further so I can get a full view of the Black Rock Sister through this arch. Pretty amazing. Of course, to get to that spot, yes, we are on somewhat of a avalanche slope, traversing this slope, but just for this shot. You don't have to do this if you're heading up to the Black Rock Sister, but you know, I just couldn't resist it. And then, by the way, looking down, there's Lee Canyon Road coming into view, and there you see Gas Peak. To the left is Fossil Ridge and the Sheep Range. To the right is the Las Vegas Valley. Okay. See how close we can get to this arch without sliding down the hill. Okay, officially I am obsessed with this arch. Yes, I'm in the middle of the arch now, and we got a great shot of the Black Rock Sister through the arch. There it is. And then just an idea. Yes, you're going to get the whole arch. Looking up, and there is the top of the arch. Wow. Just amazing. So this is arch day. Let's go over the edge of this and see if it's a cliff or if it's a continuation of the route up this ridge. We can always backtrack if it's a cliff. Okay, in the arch, and I can't say whether this other side, it doesn't look like a horrible cliff, but it is mighty steep. We'll have to see if there is a natural way around, but look at this, right in the center of the arch, and we're looking at Lee Peak, and in the background, Charleston Peak. So, pretty cool. Well, let's just totally do the arch right, since we are here, is let's look all the way up. There's the summit, and then moving around back down the arch to the Black Rock Sister. Okay, I don't know what I'm going to do, backtrack or just see what's around this corner here. I may go down a little bit further and see what this looks like, because it would be nice if I could continue on up. And by the way, look up ahead, another great rock formation. It's a pillar. Yes, it's a slidey slope on the far side of the arch, but I'm going to go ahead and try it. The worst that can happen is we got to backtrack, but yeah, this is much more of a slope than you need to take if you stayed on the ridge and didn't go to the arch and then try to circle around behind the arch. And Black Rock Sister right there. Okay, let's head up this little loose rock slidey slope and see if we can indeed circle around. Otherwise, it's a longer trip back. If you haven't guessed, yes, I've retraced my way down the lower side of the arch and its accompanying rock face. And yeah, I just got a little too much, but I'm glad I did, because look at this. There's a little pillar. How awesome. And a bristlecone pine. And once again, I'm on the friendlier ridge. So continuing on up. Well, it's not as direct an approach to the Black Rock Sister, so I can see how people might be tempted to head straight down from the Black Rock Sister rather than reascend, because there you have it. This is what you would need to ascend on the way. I still think I'm going to do it because I like this ridge that I'm on. And here's the 360. And we've probably ascended about 1,200 feet in all. There's the South Sister. No, wait a minute. That's the North Sister. And Black Rock Sister. Okay. And then I think that, yeah, the South Sister is visible here. North Sister, South Sister. And then, yes, Charleston Peak on the right, Lee Peak on the left, and then the upper ridge of Kyle Canyon all the way to Mummy Mountain. And then, yeah, Gas Peak just to the left of this tree trunk, this dead tree trunk straight ahead. And then back to the Black Rock Sister. So we'll go over there and check it out. Just see what the world looks like on all sides of that Black Rock Sister. We're nearing the top of this ridge, and then we need to go down a little further than I thought, down to a saddle, then up to the Black Rock Sister, and then retrace our way back if we want to descend on this ridge. So let's go ahead and do it. Okay, we've topped the ridge and now got a great view of the North Sister, and looking up at potential routes to the summit. Maybe this would be a route. We don't know. It looks a little steep from this distance, but then so does the route up the South Sister until you get close. Maybe it's up this ridge on the right, the West Ridge. We don't know. And here's the saddle that leads from the top of the ridge where we are right now. And you can see Mummy, a point of reference. Yeah, saddle that leads from the top of the ridge where we are up to the North Sister. And there you have McFarland Peak. Great full shot. And then let's come around this way just a little bit. And here you have Bonanza Peak. And then circling around, there's Max Peak through the trees. We'll see if we can get a better shot of that. So let's move around to this, up this way a little bit. You can see we're right on top of this ridge here. Okay, here's southern approach to Max Peak on the right. We were there not too long ago. And Let's go just a little bit further and just look at the, you look at the distance between the lower southern summit on the right, southern, no, it's northern, the northern summit on the right, and then you see the upper ridge there. One would think you could just go right from that summit right along that upper ridge, but I hear it's very narrow, and you may want to drop down and travel along the base of those cliffs and then head up somewhere in this direction to the southern summit. And then up this direction, you can see up the Highway 95 corridor. On this ridge, some really beautiful wildflowers. It's a little tiny field of wildflowers. And then we head down this ridge and over to Black Rock Sister, which is our next destination. And now we head down the ridge to the saddle and then up to the Black Rock Sister. And I just want to check that out. Then we'll retrace our way here so that we can then head back down the ridge that we ascended in the first place. Okay, down we go. Better shot of Max Peak out in the open. A little bit of cloud shadow on it, but you can see from the southern, we'll trace from the southern to the northern summit. So you just get an idea what you would be facing if you attempted to traverse that area. Either you're going to be straddling that narrow ridge at the top, or you're going to be going along the base of the cliff line. Okay, this saddle is really not that bad. It looks a lot worse from a distance than it is here because you get it over with very quickly. But yeah, we're traversing that last saddle between the ridge I ascended and the Black Rock Sister. And there is actually a little trail that has appeared for the first time right here on this saddle, as if you needed a trail. Better shot of Max Peak in the sunlight. And now it's kind of interesting because here you see Bonanza Peak. And McFarland Peak. And if you're on the Bonanza Trail, you're just on the top of that ridge line there. And it looks like you could descend the ridge line and actually ascend Max Peak Um, I imagine you'd have to have more than one car to do that. Park one at your starting point and one at your finish point. But yeah, and here's the north sister. Circling around. Charleston and Lee Peaks. Charleston is the higher one there. And then the upper ridge of Kyle Canyon. And then good shot of different potential approaches up to Mummy's Head and to the main summit of Mummy. By the way, Mummy's Head on the left, the main summit on the right, and then there are canyons down there that you can see the ski run for the Lee Canyon ski area. And then this, I believe, this little canyon right here, you see the green ribbon there. I believe that is the Foxtail Canyon area. And there are potential approaches up to the summit, although it does look very steep everywhere you look. So, we'll see at some point. Closing in on the Black Rock Sister. Look at that. How beautiful. And here it is. Full view. Beautiful rock formation. This looks like a potential class 3 approach on the southwest side of the Black Rock Sister. We'll go up a ways here. I'm not too much into rock climbing, but let's just go a little ways and see what we can see, and then maybe circle around the other side and see what things look like. Before I summit, I want to check out all the sides. Now I've circled around to the north side, and let's just see where this leads here. Another look at the north side. Little sign over there. Be interesting to see what that says. Maybe we'll circle around there and take a look at it. Probably says do not climb this cliff. Anyway, yeah, north side of Black Rock Sister. And it looks like there's a little class 3 approach up this side too. And maybe we'll go up there and just, I think that puts us still a little north of the true summit, which you can see through the little opening there. There's a great view of the Sheep Range from the Black Rock Sister. They're from the north to the south. And then you can see actually right to the right of this tree, you can see Mormon Well Road as it winds up just to the left of Fossil Ridge. And then we move a little further. There's Gas Peak. And there is the northern Las Vegas Valley Centennial Hills area. Here's Angel Peak and on up to Mummy Mountain. And that's from Black Rock Sister. We're on the north side of Black Rock Sister. And there you can see below us is Lee Canyon Road. And then there it is, stretching between those two trees and heading toward the Sheep Range and Highway 95. By the way, these little signs here, it's kind of interesting. They felt it important to remind us that there are no motorized vehicles allowed up here. I don't know who's going to drive up in this area. And no hang gliders. Yeah, maybe someone would be crazy enough to hang glide in the midst of these trees or off the top of Black Rock Sister. Who knows? But yeah, a few different signs. And this is the ridge. This is the alternate ridge to descend toward Lee Canyon Road. I'm going to go back up to that middle ridge. This is the southern ridge. There's a middle ridge and then a northern ridge. The middle ridge is much more gradual, and it looks like the better way to go. That's the way I ascended. Well, let's take a look at the little survey marker over here. And here's a survey marker. I haven't read it yet, but maybe you can pause the video and read it. There you have it, Black Rock Sister. If you're into rock climbing, there were some pretty gentle class 3 approaches, but they did have more exposure than I was comfortable with. But yeah, Black Rock Sister, you could probably make it up to the summit. Okay, heading back. Okay, heading back toward the North Sister, and we're going to retrace our way down that ridge that we ascended. And here we are at just beyond the Black Rock Sister. And we're talking about retracing our way down that ridge. We're going to head down to the saddle and then reascend to that high point right there. Take a left and just head all the way down the center of that ridge, and you can see the ridge line. Just a second. Yeah, here you can see the ridge line as it heads all the way down. It's a very nice ridge, pretty gradual ridge line, and then it crosses over. You end up down in that kind of gravelly area in the center, and then you continue on down and you can see Lee Canyon Road below, and eventually you reach Lee Canyon Road, and we should be very close to where we left the trailhead, if you could call it a trailhead. We're starting down the ridge. I'll do a couple more videos to show how to stay on track as we continue downward. We definitely don't want to be on that ridge over there. And we don't want to be on a far ridge the other direction. We'll show you when we get there. But this central ridge is the one that we want. So here we go. And basically it starts at a high point in the saddle. It's a high point in the saddle that, descends just a little bit to the saddle toward the North Sister. And it descends a lot more down the saddle toward Black Rock Sister. You get to the summit of that saddle and here you are on the ridge. Here we go. There's that big rock. On the other side of it is the arch that we saw on the way up. And you just keep heading straight down this ridge. You don't go off the right side or the left side. Stay in the middle and you should be good. And we'll show you where you might depart from the ridge as we near the base. This actually could be a really good altitude conditioning adventure because you're doing two things here. One is that you're getting used to the altitude, the summit there of, oh, by the way, hey, yeah, there's our favorite arch. The summit, by the way, is around 9,200. Not bad. But the incline, though it is steady, it'll really condition your muscles for higher inclines. So maybe late spring, this could be a good conditioning adventure for the summer where you're going higher in the altitude.